Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Confessions of a Gamer Girl podcast. I'm your host, Doom Cutie, and today it is myself and the lovely Ellie.
That is I. I am the lovely Ellie.
It has been a hot minute. We've been dealing with life. It is the season, and we're not talking about Christmas in July. We're talking about the colds that come along with existing as an Australian in June, July.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
I can say without a doubt, the illnesses have gone through this small town, and it's been a time.
Oh, it's been a time. I've been sick for I reckon 3.5 weeks now. It's
Mhm.
just it's just gross. And anytime someone's like, "Oh, you've like been away, are you feeling better?" I'm like, "No, no, I
I'm not.
no, I'm not. Please, I'm having the time of my life." It's just I hate winter and I hate how it's sickening. But you know what? The sun's been shining today. I can't complain
Good.
too much. I'm this side of 6 feet under, so we're fine.
Yes, there's a lot of makeup on under this, really. It's so like it's been pretty dreadful. I'm an Australian. If you're watching and listening out there and you're from America, just go away. Because we need sun. We're like, you know what? We're like Superman. Superman's actually Australian. He needs that sun. You know what I mean? That's what I'm feeling right now, and I feel like the vitamin D is just sucked out of me, and it's just a terrible time all around. So great,
Yeah,
and not
what's
yes,
that thing? The seasonal affective disorder? That's like
seasonal
very
depression.
real.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
It is. It is.
very
But you
real.
know what? Luckily, we're here. We're here to help you kick that seasonal depression with our fun podcast. Shay is in the chat. We couldn't silence her. I couldn't remove her. That's just typical Shay behavior. And yeah, she can't talk, but she can type. So watch out, everyone. She will be having her say in the chat. There she is. I will not be silenced. There you go. Yeah, thank you to everyone who has come in. I'm trying something a little bit different this time on the good old Purple Place. I'm putting us into just chatting. So we're gonna see. Because really we're chatting. Like I'm sure it's fine. We're not gonna get kicked out of that. So yeah, but this week I've been very busy working. However, I did stumble across Ellie doing a little cheeky stream. Ellie, what have you been playing? What have you been streaming?
Yeah, as the OG regs would know, I've been taking a bit of a break from streaming at the moment. But just literally because I'm constantly battling illnesses, which is not fun. And so having a rest from regular streaming, but thankfully Monday night I felt a little bit better, and I really wanted to replay The Quarry.
Oh, is that what that
And
was? I thought so.
yes,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
had room on my PlayStation to put it on because it was only 12 gig, which The Quarry
Oh,
is like,
really?
yeah, it's still like a
Okay.
pretty long-ish game. So it was like 12 gigs, so I didn't even have to like delete anything, which is always nice because if you know, with these bloody consoles, there's never
Yeah.
any room to do anything. So that was fun. I revisited the old chestnut. The most logical choice to pick is always the wrong one. It hasn't bit me in the
Oh.
butt, but it always is, and because it's not just survival paths that you're contending with, it's like building the characters. I don't know how like not personalities, but like what would you say, like charisma and stuff is like
Oh, they're like
that
their qualities? They're like,
qualities. Yeah,
skill yeah, their personality trees?
yeah, it's kind of like that. You're
Oh.
building that element as well, so like you can stuff someone's opinion of somebody else, and that can lead to their death. So it's a very, very spiderwebby,
Gee.
butterfly wingy thought processing. But it's really fun because you can kind of giggle. It's not the end of the world when you get it wrong or something
Okay.
happens. You can kind of like, hee hee, I definitely picked the wrong choice there. It was a bit of fun.
Hey, some people play through games like completely with the wrong choices. I was talking to a friend the other day about doing another Mass Effect playthrough because you can play as like good guy or bad guy. I kind of like tapered in the middle. Like I wasn't too goody goody, but I wasn't particularly bad. This is very reminiscent of if you choose all of bad guy, you can just kill everyone. And if you kill everyone, you can't actually finish the game because you don't have
Oh,
enough crew members.
fascinating.
You don't have enough crew members to launch the ship in the final battle. So I was
Mm.
like, oh, okay, don't be a massive dick then. Okay.
And do you know that though? Like, do you know that ahead of time if you're playing it for the
No,
first time,
if you
or do you
if you
find it
hadn't
out the hard
spoken to
way?
any yeah, if you hadn't spoken to anyone or looked online or anything like that, you would actually stuff up and that would be just the end of the game for you. You would but you can play through again, like, it's not like you can't go back, but,
Mm.
like yeah,
No, that's
yeah,
fascinating.
yeah. I mean, it's great though, but yeah, I would probably really like some characters are a little bit annoying, so I wouldn't mind, kicking some off, but
A vibe.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Speaking of a vibe, the game that I am bringing us all today, and it's very different than I usually do. So obviously, my kids are on holidays. My daughters have learned to play Fortnite together, so I'm pretty much kicked off like any sort of main screen at the moment, unless I want to play at like 9 o'clock at night, which we tired. I found this game on Steam. It's called Goblin Cleanup. Um, it's a co-op
Oh,
game where you have to clean up and rearrange a dungeon before the next adventurers come. Um, so it's like if you've ever played a game, imagine, I don't know, Diablo or like one of those games where you enter a dungeon, you enter an instance, and there's just like blood splattered, like there's demon guts like on the floor, and you have to like you're just trying to clean up the room. I guess it's like a kind of a wacky, not power wash simulator vibe, but yeah, it just like yeah, it's very, very cute, and you can play online. It's up to 4
so
players. You can play by
so a
yourself.
simulator of sorts. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so, but yeah, there's like some creatures that try and kill you, and there's some weird and wonderful like little tools that you can use. There's only a demo available, but it will be going into early access very soon. And its publisher is actually Team 17. So we all know that they're basically the king of multiplayer games. I think anyway. But yeah, but Kate, you're not wrong. It's like a crime scene, but kinda like, you know, medieval because it's like a dungeon. But yeah, bit of fun.
I like that. I like that uniqueness of that. I think
Yeah.
so it's more couch co-op, so like your girls are playing together.
No, I haven't played this with them, but no, but it's
Oh,
online. It's online co-op.
oh,
I
gotcha,
have
gotcha.
jumped in. Look, I haven't, um I keep making excuses, but I will not play Fortnite with my children. I hear how they scream at each other, and I just don't feel like being verbally abused by an 8-year-old. Um, yeah.
And they're
So,
the ones stuck in the storm, can't leap over something, and and you're
sorry, I'm
like,
not carrying your ass out of the storm. I did play duo with my 8-year-old, just us 2, um, and that was I think she was homesick one day, and my other daughter was at school, and, yeah, so I was kinda, like, playing on the device that she would normally be playing on, and, even then, that was stressful. I was like, "What are you doing?" Because there's no priorities about anything. They don't understand that they need to get a full shield. They'll just get a half shield. They don't care. And they just want all the cool nifty gadgets. And, it's
Mm,
just look, they remind me to have fun and not take it so seriously. Um, but, it's it's still a little bit frustrating. I'm sure you will experience this one day when your child gets old enough to play with you.
gosh, So funny. Just that, like, concept. I think it'll be really nice, to experience that. I mean, we discussed not too long ago, my parents never gamed with me or anything,
Yeah, we did.
but in other elements of life, like, we're a very big sporting family, so we would
Mhm.
sometimes play sport together, and that was always really nice. I think having something more local and I say relaxed, even though you've just said that it's the opposite of relaxing, but I mean, like, you're sitting in close proximity of each other,
Yeah,
you're just
yeah.
making an afternoon. I think that would be
Yeah.
really beneficial. But I saw, obviously, you've been doing a lot of chats with gaming parents
Yes,
at
I
your time.
have.
Did you ever come across anyone that was a gamer, but their children weren't into gaming?
Oh, no. So I think you're referencing, my recent video of Coag in the wild.
Mm,
Funny story about that. I actually, left my aux cable for my camera and my mic receiver at home. So all of that is filmed on my iPhone, which is
bummer.
well, it worked. It was fine. But yeah, I was at Supernova, Perth this well, not I think 2, 3 weeks ago now. And yeah, so I was in the free play area that was hosted by, Oz Esports, and there was multiple games there. There was, like, Rocket League, there was, Fortnite, and there was some, like, old school games. They had, like, an emulator available for, like, some old Nintendo 64 games, which was really cool. And overall, parents were pretty relaxed. Like, you
Mm,
can go and watch that video. There was only one, and I think it was the first lady I spoke to. She said that she was strict, but her little boy was so young. He was, like, 5 or 6 years old, and I think it was her only child. But I think the
mm.
parents that had multiple kids would or were passionate gamers themselves, just whatever. Like, if I wanna play my video game, they can play their video games.
Mm. Yeah, it's a very fascinating balance, I find, especially with the work I've been doing in kind of like the gaming psychology space.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
have multiple categories of gaming, or should I say parents around games, because you have the category of gamer with
Yep.
gamer children, and
Mhm.
that's obviously the easiest because you're in that world. You kind
Yes.
of know, like, your child can bring home a game and be like, "Can I play this?" And you either know about it, or have played it yourself, or know how to look into it so your child can participate in it safely. And then you
Mm,
have
mm.
the parents that have never gamed, and then you have the parents that doesn't matter if they haven't gamed, but they're very strict on screen time because obviously gaming is screen time.
Involves a
Um,
screen, yes.
yeah, and I spoke to someone in my life that has a child that's nearing 10. He's a gamer, his wife's not a gamer, his child is a gamer,
Mhm.
his other child is not. And I kinda asked, I'm like, "What's your boundaries around screen time?" Because I
Mm.
was just curious because you've got one gaming parent and one non-gaming parent, but
Yeah,
they're very
yeah.
much like, the on the older side of millennials, so they've grown up with screens, so they're
Mm.
not as afraid of screens as some other generations are, but they believe in setting boundaries. And so it was just fascinating that they do set boundaries. Their child, like I said, almost 10, they stick to an hour, and it's also used as a reward system. So if he's
Yeah,
been
okay.
good that day, then yep, sure, you can go and game depending on what the family's doing. If the child's been particularly a bit difficult, then no, you can't game. And it's really cool that you've been able to connect with parents to kind of hear their sorts of takes on it, because
Mhm.
putting aside the element that gaming can be dangerous in the way of connecting with strangers, putting that aside, there's so many benefits to it being a hobby, but much like anything else, there's a spectrum. So you can go too
Mm.
much on one side or
Yeah.
too much on the other. So
Yeah, yep, for sure.
yeah, I found that little snippet of yours like quite fascinating. Have you got more of that sort of in the woodwork to be published?
So yeah, I have a full 15-minute video on
Yeah.
YouTube for Coag in the Wild, and I think there's like 6 parents that
Mm.
were willing to be filmed, and there's a number of parents that didn't want to be filmed, but I
Yeah,
still
you
spoke to them.
mentioned. What was
Yeah,
their qualms with that? Just shy?
I think I don't know. I feel like many parents just probably weren't prepared for being filmed, if that makes sense. Even though they're probably in the background of a lot of, vloggers and cosplayers content. Yeah, I think when the spotlight is put on them, I think it's probably got something to do with how they look. And also, I think they're worried about like being judged for their parenting style. But
True.
you know,
Very
and
true.
I did reassure them that I'd heard many different kinds of parenting from, like you say, using it as part of their reward systems, or only assigning X amount of time because they know that number one, they don't want to be a social outcast. They don't want their kid to not know what this stuff is because lots of kids at school will know about this. And also, maybe they haven't done as much research into this, but it is good a little bit for their development. And then obviously there's the other side who either have one or both parents that video game and they do it all together, or they do it separately, whatever it is that they do. But yeah, there was the people that didn't want to be uh, interviewed on camera. A lot of them had multiple children and were very relaxed about screen time and about gaming. So yeah,
Mm.
maybe if anything, perhaps they went away to kind of reflect on how much time they allow their children to spend on that stuff, or
Mm.
potentially how much they're involved in that with their children.
Yes, because a big lot of it is actually being there with the child and not just letting them kind of do what they want or
Mm,
just be isolated by themselves. I think with modern parenting, and I say modern parenting within the last like 10 years, is
mm,
very demonized by screen time. But that's because there was the rise of the iPad parent where a child
mm,
just get an iPad and they had, the free range. And with like any era in the history of the universe, there's going to be a boom of popularity and then out comes the negative sides of it. So, the early 2000s ish with the boom of the iPad, it seemed like fantastic that a child can have this freedom with technology, with gaming, but then we've realized, oh, actually the way some people are utilizing it
mm.
isn't um, very good. But
I
when
don't
you're
know.
spending, what
Sorry.
we think?
No, I was gonna say I just don't think this topic comes up enough as a parent. Like,
Hmm.
it for me, and you know the way that I go to school. I involve myself with the other mums, other parents, right? It's it's just it never comes up, and only the people that know that I create gaming content, they'll come to me. They'll be like, oh. Like, what's this game? Like, I've had a number of questions actually about Minecraft education because I used it for teaching,
Mm.
and yeah, people will ask me about that, but it's never like, oh, are you worried about this, or how do you manage this, or anything like that. Whereas they would ask questions about, oh, how do you manage potty training, or my child started wetting the bed again, or but this is a thing that really does affect their brain development, and it's like.
Yep.
I think it's really important to be open and having these discussions, especially, you know, as parents who are gamers. Even if your child, some children don't want to play games, and Kate has mentioned that her children, it's very subjective. Like, one child is really good with managing lots of time, and then the other one really isn't. So it's there's just so many levels of analysis that we can dive into here. And like you said, there's so many different kinds of gamer parents or parents of gamers out there. But yeah, it's something that I think is really relevant to this podcast, especially with our demographic, our viewers, our even ourselves. You're about to enter a very lovely space, Ellie, with your growing child. So
Mm.
so yeah.
Well, I
Do you
think it's
think you'll
equally
be amazing with it, or what do you think? Because he's obviously
well.
pre-controller. He's-
Yeah. Yeah, I think daunting is the correct word to use because I wouldn't go into it thinking like, oh, I'm, perfect because I'm a gamer, so I know how to protect my child. Well, not
Mm.
necessarily because, I might slip up and be like, go on then, let's game a little bit. Other
She's a
than
realistic queen. She's
yeah,
realistic.
other than like the average parent being like, "Oh no, you've already had enough today or this week," or they can set those boundaries. Whereas like me as a gaming parent, I might be like, "Oh, that sounds like fun. Like let's go." But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a bit of a preemptive person and I like to know things as they develop and what's the trend in things. And I've
Mhm,
discussed with people who are other gaming parents as well as professionals in the space.
mhm,
And a lot of the time it does boil down to how it's used. And that means why are you letting the child let's talk about screen time with gaming specifically.
mhm.
Why are you letting the child game and why are you letting them game for that duration? So is it because you need to go and do some errands and you know that they're quiet? Do you need quiet time yourself and then you know that you're not, you know what they're doing, you know where they are, they're not bothering you? Or is it
Maybe
something
you
that
have to
you're
binge Smallville for, a few hours.
Yes. And or is it because you think it's their hobby and they should enjoy it just like you
Yeah,
should
yeah.
enjoy yours? Are you doing it with them? So there's so many different ways that you can utilize gaming, but I would like to think that in my future, I could foresee it as utilizing a way to spend time with my family.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that there's so many fun things that you can do with gaming. You can
Mhm.
play the good old together games like your iToy back in the day, those sorts of family games, Wii
Oh,
Sports.
yeah, yeah, you've got a Wii now, right? You can easily
Yeah, yeah,
if
like
they can throw a ball, they can swing a Wii remote, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Just make sure
that's
you got
it.
that wrist strap on.
The
Um,
wrist strap. Like whatever
although
those
although my girls played in Bali when we went, they had, like, a little kids club and they had gaming in there.
Mhm.
They struggled with, like, holding the trigger
Yes,
and which
the A and
button.
the B. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, they really struggled with
Yes.
that. I had to, like, dig deep in the archives of gaming to remember, like, even though it says it on the screen, it didn't feel as intuitive after well, it did after a few goes.
Yeah, the
Um,
motor skills, it's hard.
people in the comments are asking, and some people are, soon to be, parents. Congratulations to Dolphin. Um, the age at which and I've had 2 children who both play video games now and are very proficient with the controller. The Nintendo controllers are perfect from about 4, 5,
That's
okay?
fascinating.
The thing is they have the gyroscope in them, so when they're playing the Mario Kart, it turns with them. I think there's a setting inside the Mario Kart where it actually just goes. You don't have to press a button. So they're just learning to steer, basically. But
That's
yes,
cool.
I would recommend you asserting dominance in the Mario Kart world as soon as possible. But just be prepared that you must continue to develop your skills, because one day they might get better than you,
The
if you just
crossover.
relax too if you
I hear
relax
it.
too much. For sure. But yeah, Ellie, you're so right. It can be such a meaningful tool for connection with families. And yeah, and I think
Mm.
that's always how I've felt it as well. And as much as I have been binging Smallville recently on my day off, and the girls had played a few hours of Fortnite today, they actually fight less. And I've had a bit of difficulty with my kids fighting at the moment. One is
Mhm.
6, one is 8. The 8-year-old is becoming, quite, in the adolescent stage of her life, and, my 6-year-old is just here for a good time, not a long time. You know what I mean? It's like having a drunk best friend still. Yeah, it's like a big version of a toddler, except they have an
Yes.
opinion and thoughts, and they can reach the snacks. Um, so yeah, I've actually found that they actually look after each other a little bit, but I know that's a really weird thing to say, but that's
So
my
as in,
experience.
like, within the game, they're looking after each other and
Yeah.
giving each other supplies and stuff?
Yeah, yeah, they give each other supplies, like, they compliment each other. They're like, "Good shot," or like, "Well
Oh.
done," and they're, like, giving, like, positive feedback to one another. So and they wouldn't normally do that, like, if they were just, I don't know, coloring or jumping on the trampoline or, I don't know, going for finding random sticks and rocks. Like, they'd be usually talking about the thing that they're doing, not necessarily about, like, how they're doing it, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Well, that's really sweet. Isn't that cute that that's a fun way to kind of
Yeah.
bond? And again, like, I think that that kind of comment that you made, like, "Oh, it's strange to say," but I think that's just because it's been weaponized and
Yeah, sure.
demonized within the parenting community of the Venn diagram of screen time and gaming. Like, it just so happens that gaming is on a screen, and thus staring at a television or
Mhm.
a computer for any more than half an hour apparently turns a brain to goop.
Yeah.
And I'm only sarcastic just because I'm talking about like the really far end of the spectrum when people
It's a
really don't
loud minority.
understand, and yeah, they don't understand, and they really go ham in acting like it's the end of the world if you let your child play
Yeah.
games
But
and things.
what's another interesting, kind of generation to talk to? It's the parents of millennials, and how
Oh
they
yeah.
feel like when they, visit the kids or, they might look after the kids while mum and dad do XYZ. And, they have their ideas about, you know, uh, amount of time spending with screens and things like that. Some might even wash their hands and just say, "You know what? I can't control them, let's just, let them do whatever they want." But I fear that actually they're giving up too soon because I think kids, like, when they act different with different people, right? So I think they could actually just, if they had things in place, to do instead. Like if they had, let's say, I don't know, they ran like I don't know, a boot camp or something like that with the kids, and they, they like, made them do jobs, or made it a fun way, to do other things. Yeah, they could capitalize on that. But yeah, there was
Mm.
this one at Supernova. There was this one grandmother, and I wanted to talk to her. She had a neck tattoo and everything, and I was like, I want to talk to
Oh.
that baddie. Who is she? Um, and yeah, I went and spoke to her. She didn't want to be filmed. And yeah, she was there with her son and then her son's son. And yeah, they both kind of really didn't want to talk about it. They wanted their kid to give feedback. And I was like, wait, hang on. You're not like mindfully deciding like what you're doing. Maybe you've never actually thought about it. Um, so yeah,
Mm.
yeah, lots of um, interesting things that we could potentially like continue to talk about like at other conventions, I think. And Ellie, your work with Level Up Psychology definitely dips its toe into that area as well.
It's just fascinating. It truly is. Obviously, it's the direction that everything is going into, and there's just such a market for really protecting your child and helping them flourish while supporting their interests. It's much
Yeah.
like the show. Is it Parental Guidance that's on Channel 9 at the
Yes.
moment? Like their series.
Yes.
It brings together so many different types of parents, and everyone has their different way of handling things, and that just really instills that there is a genuine fear currently and for the future for young people growing in and around technology. And
Mm.
one of the heavy uses with technology amongst many demographics is video games. And so it just goes
Mhm.
hand in hand with people just really wanting to make sure that their children are going to be safe and happy. And
Yeah.
I often think and reflect upon parenting in the 80s and 90s because there's always parenting trends. It's kind of how
Yeah.
decades work, and how they didn't get this sort of support. There was books, sure, but how outdated were the books? They weren't up to date with current
Yeah.
trends. It was word by mouth. It's what your girlfriend's doing that you give a buzz and you're like, hey, sister, I need a help with this. There's not much connection, whereas we live on the internet now, essentially, and parenting book, like, what is that? We're all looking at each other and we're all talking to each other. We're turning to reels and TikToks, like short form content, bite-sized pieces of information where we can kind of get that info. And so when you're discussing about chatting to parents of millennials, it's cute because it's like they now see probably their flaws in their
the effect of their parenting
parenting.
on their child's parenting, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
and they see that kind of follow down. But it's cool because I was thinking that the go-to gaming item for road trips and things, Game Boys, and depends what era we're talking about. Me personally, it was my Game Boy Advance, which I still have. Love her. She's a icon for me. And I was saying goodbye to my nephew in the car just the other week, and he was on his Switch, and he's just in the back of the car playing on his Switch, playing Minecraft, and it's actually really cute. So this is the same nephew that has their time around gaming quite monitored. He writes down just random stuff like cubby house, tree, pond, writes them down in almost like a little notebook, and he'll flip to something random and he'll make that thing in Minecraft.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, and so he'll
great.
preemptively write stuff down that he wants to create. And anyway, he was so sweet. I was just saying, bye to him. He was getting driven somewhere, and he's like, "Oh, look," and like showing me his Switch, and he was like, "This is what I'm making at the moment." And it really, I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." Like, I'm not a Minecraft player, so I was like, "That sounds so awesome for you. Like, that's creative." I can't picture what that looks like, but it took me back to when I was big into my Game Boy Advance, and always writing in my little diamond notebook, which I still have, the what would you call them? I guess like passwords, that you would finish a level and then like that's the password to that level. So if when you turn your machine off, you can get it back. I still have that. It's inside of my my Game Boy bag because, hello, I worked hard on that stuff. Level codes, thank you, Dolphin. Yeah, and it's just really sweet how it's like we're same, but different flavors. Like kids are going to be kids. And I was talking to a coworker not too long ago about gaming and stuff, and he was like, because he's a massive gamer. He is, I think, in his 60s now, but he's a huge gamer, loves always asking what I'm up to, what I'm playing. Loves the fact that we've got this podcast every week. Like, it's really, really cool. And he was like asking about like, "Oh, what have you got the little one gaming?" I was like, "Oh, I haven't really." Like,
he's learning to take turns at the moment. He can't.
Yeah, he needs. I'm sorry. I will fully admit I give him an Xbox controller when I'm playing PlayStation.
That's fine.
So because he learns to press the buttons and stuff, and that way he's not, because I gave him my other PlayStation controller and I realized he kept pressing the PlayStation button and trying to switch the account. So I'd be in the middle of something and like, "Are you still playing Twerk and Queen?" I'm like, stop that. So Xbox controller. But his like note, he was like, "Oh yeah, but they're not going to be playing with controllers probably when they're, when they're your age." And I was like, a fascinating concept, but gaming really has not come that far within the last like 30 years technology wise. Like, look at computer, still keyboard and mouse. Look at consoles, still a form of controller. One of my favorite quotes in Back to the Future is like, "You use your hands, that's a baby's toy." Which is obviously from the 80s to 2015. They're assuming that you don't use your hands, which they
Hey,
never
hey, hey,
really.
I was supposed to live in space with, like, a robot maid, and, my car
Yeah.
was supposed to be a spaceship, so,
Yep, yep.
we're definitely not as far ahead as maybe people predicted. But,
Yeah.
I think we've come a long way with, like, eye movement detection with, like, the goggles
Yes.
and things like that. Apple Vision and the what is it? The Ray-Bans, is what are they what's it called?
Gosh,
Lens
yeah.
or something like that?
Yeah, those things.
Um, they're gonna be all over conventions at the moment, coming, I reckon, if people can afford it, because, strapping a GoPro to your chest, hell no, I have a camera in my glasses, but then there's an issue with privacy there, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Mm,
But, I think that technology has come, which is good. But yeah, actually someone did ask me at the convention where I think gaming will go, and I did say I think probably the next leap will be when we, forego the keyboard and mouse and the controller. Like, that will be
yeah.
probably the biggest leap, because we already have, VR gaming, with accessories that support that as well. So, yeah, but I don't know. Maybe I'll be a grandma when when that all
Yeah.
goes down.
I
But
did
going
I thought VR was going to be the way of the future, especially with Half-Life Alyx coming out just on VR, and that's Half-Life is huge,
Yeah.
and Half-Life Alyx was just VR, and I was like, "Okay, that sold me on the future's gonna be VR, RIP if you get motion sick." Um, it's going to be something crazy, but honestly, it has not taken off anywhere near as much as I thought, and
It's not you need
I
so much space. We don't have that.
you
Like,
do,
not I mean,
and
you need
the
a whole
sickness
room.
you do. I almost got punched in the face once when my friend was trying out my Oculus a couple years ago. He literally like moved as I was like, "Oh, yep, you look good," and I tried to move to the side, and I felt the air of his punch like come
Oh,
through me,
no.
and I was like, yeah, bro, we're gonna have to come up with something more specific saying I'm out of the way because that's
Just
insane.
some sort of,
But it
like,
was cool.
box.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
but it
look,
was
it's
it
it's
was really cool.
it is really cool, and, it's a really great, a learning tool for people. There was also I was watching The Good Doctor actually recently, and there was one
Mhm.
episode where this patient was dying, and her last wish, she always wanted to go to Paris with her husband, and her husband died.
Oh.
And he stayed. Or he went and got treatment, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah, when I've done the treatment, we'll go to Paris." He died. She didn't end up going, and oh my god, I cried like a bloody baby, but she was wearing, like, this little pendant with, like, the Eiffel Tower on it, and,
Mm.
but the doctors, like, figured out, like, she was in and out of, I guess, consciousness or, alertness because she was very much at, like, the end of her time, and, they put a VR headset on for her, and, yeah, it was like they were going through Paris, and she grabbed one of the doctor's hands, and I can't remember the name of the husband. She was like, "Oh, John, it's so beautiful." And I was like, I was
Oh,
dying.
no.
So, yeah, so there definitely is a place, for VR, whether or not it's in the home, family game night. I doubt that we're very close to that until we can,
Too
like,
many
clock.
fail compilations.
Yeah, yeah, I just no, absolutely not. But there was something that I did wanna touch on. You mentioned before about, like, how parents, like, learned how to be parents, like, books were huge, and now we're parent influencers, mumfluencers, that kinda stuff. That's where a lot of people are getting their information from. Lots of
Mm.
these people, they started with blogs, and now they've got vlogs, and their kids are growing up, on social media, being filmed, and, their parenting is being seen, and I think that's how we're kind of being influenced, whether we know it or not. Um, so I would actually say that if you're a parent and you are a content creator who does content around video games, I would say that it would be really great if you could, every once in a while, kind of express something that you struggled with, or something that you're kind of trying to be mindful of as a gaming parent with your audiences. Because that's where they're going to get this information from. And the internet is full of, websites and things like that they can go to. But if someone's in your community and their parents, you could be really helping someone. And it's something that I've come to realize over the time. I've got a lot, I've got Ellie, obviously, who's a mum. Shay's got cats. They don't have thumbs, but, I guess they can stay. But, like lots and lots of other women that I know of are parents and they fully embrace being a gamer mum. And you know what? I'm here for it. So, yeah, if you are out there, you are creating content, please, chat to your communities about, your parenting problems or your parenting gaming philosophies or something like that, because I think it could really help and I think it could make everyone just feel a little bit more connected.
Yeah, I think they would be valuable statements to put out there.
Definitely. Speaking of valid things that have been put out there, I've been on an absolute, I'm going to say a little bit of a hyperfixation, and it's about Superman, okay? Now, you might ask what that has to do with video gaming. I'll get there. Don't worry. But yeah, I'm seeing a bright future for DC, and I think a lot of other people are as well. Ellie, are you a Superman fan at all? Are you a superhero gal?
Yeah, I'm Team DC. I've been Team DC for a long, long time. I even to the way that I had a silk collection of boxes with DC characters because I
Oh,
loved them.
Ellie!
But they were specific. They were like, it had to be so like blue and then just the Superman emblem, black and then just the Batman emblem. Like I had a collection because I used to.
Wow!
I just love DC, and then Marvel took off,
Yeah.
and it didn't bother me because I liked the superhero genre. But from a film perspective, I'm a media dork, film and television dork, and the Marvel, dead horse. They're really beating this, using the same formula every single time. Superhero movie with some ha-has and hot people on screen. It got old real quick. And unfortunately, DC kind of had a few schlops, which threw DC into the bin. And then when you've got such a big contender like Marvel, it was really tough out there to be a DC fan for a while. But absolutely love the universe and the resurgence at the moment with Superman, because like you were saying with Fortnite, I collected the old Superman outfit, and then now obviously they're doing like the DC collaboration at the moment, kind of tying in with the film. It's a good time to get one of Superman to me is like Cinderella in the Disney princess category. Like Superman is the superhero in my humble opinion. Is he my favorite? Like not my all-time favorite, but I just mean he's so like you picture a superhero, it's Superman, and so it's quite refreshing.
Sure, I think it's like Superman and Captain America. Like when we imagine superheroes, I think that's what we kind of think of: Captain America and Superman.
So I'm excited that you've kind of delved back into it, and
I have
a notable mention of Smallville, because hello Smallville. If you know, you know.
My days. Okay, so that was on 2001. I think that premiered, and it used to air alongside, or like Supernatural was on after it, I think. So yeah, but I never watched it. I did watch Supernatural though, but yeah, I think I don't just was a time where there was no, streaming services or multiple televisions in the house, so I could only do what I could. But yes, it's a lovely time to be watching Smallville. There's actually still to this very day a podcast about Smallville, and Superman and Lex they host it, and it's called Talkville, and they talk
as in
about
like the actors, the original actors.
Yes.
I keep going to call him Charlie Baker just because he was in Cheaper by the Dozen. What's his name again?
Tom no.
Yeah, it's
I
Tom
forgot.
something, isn't it?
It's Tom Welling. Tom
Yeah.
yeah, Tom Welling.
I
Yeah,
think
it
that's
is.
right. Him
Yeah, Tom
much like
Welling.
the live action Peter Pan was definitely in the male category. If you were attracted to males, they were kind of the stock standard
Oh, yeah.
crushes was Tom and Peter Pan. So
Yeah, sure.
iconic. What spurred you on to start Smallville? Just because the new film's coming out?
Okay, so the reason why I started it is because I went back through all this analysis. I was like, why did Superman like fall off my radar? Like, come on. He's like tall, dark, and handsome, and he wears tight, bright clothes. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, he fell off my radar because I loved uh gosh, he was the Witcher. What's his name?
Oh,
Forgotten.
yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Henry
I
Cavill.
Henry Cavill. I love Henry Cavill, but I didn't like him as Superman. And look, he looked good, but the
Yeah.
direction of the story, how dark it was, like Man of Steel was okay, but it just wasn't great.
Mm.
And I mean, he didn't get his own Fortnite skin, did he? So, it was the
Very
classic.
good
It was the
point.
classic Superman. You know what I mean? Yeah, Henry Cavill. Love that man. But you know what? Superman did nothing for him. And to all the naysayers, Colin did an amazing Superman, and he's brought Superman back into the light.
That's
Okay.
great.
Okay, so Smallville and this current iteration of Superman are, and I read it today, they're putting the man back into Superman. Hey, I thought that was really good. And it's true, it's true. It was like there was a lot of heart. There was a lot of heart,
Yeah.
Ellie. Shut up. You haven't even seen it.
No, I'm keen to jump into that. There's a few good spooky games, movies here and there. So it's a nice time to get back into theatre with
It is a lovely time.
Superman that's not Marvel. Sorry. I want a not Marvel. And it's good to know that superheroes have survived that one director the cracking it over like superhero movies, just flooding cinema. It was a while ago now. I forget which director it was, and he was just like, they're dead. Like superhero films are dead, which it just sounded like a scorned director. But again, flipping back to what I said about Marvel,
Look,
it's nice that and with Wonder Woman and its flop there, it's great because I
as
liked the
if
first one, but then the
after that
second
it was
one,
just,
and then the hot
and I
water
love
that Gal Gadot's in, it's
yeah, I
hard.
know. It was just, and she did all that pregnant, so kudos to her. She was like 4 months pregnant when they were filming Wonder Woman. So, we love a queen like that. But it was so dark, and even Batman, like what the hell?
I
Like
didn't
I
like
went back,
Robert
yeah,
Pattinson's Batman.
I went back and watched the OGs, and they stand the test of time. They're amazing. Baz Luhrmann, iconic. Michelle Pfeiffer, iconic. But
Oh,
yeah,
iconic! And then Danny
yeah,
DeVito was the Penguin, terrifying.
yeah, I know,
Still lives
terrifying.
within my haunted dreams. That little waddle and the
And eating the fish, and he's like eating, and like they threw
stop
that
the
party for him,
nose.
and I just
The little
so
weird
good.
outfit, the little they call them pantyhose, don't they? Like the big, like white underwear thing he was wearing. I'm pretty sure it's called a pantyhose, isn't it?
Oh, like pantaloons,
Pantaloon?
pantyhose.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, they're
like
not pantaloons, are they? Something that
his undergarments. Yeah, they were
yeah, the undergarments.
from
Yeah,
another
they
time.
freak me out. Ugh. Good on him for having a legacy, but whew.
Look, I think he's always played quite interesting characters. But I digress. I'm very, very excited. And like Crypto, the little dog, apparently, and I shared it on my stories today in America, inquiries for rescue dog for rescue dogs has increased by 400% since the movie came out. So
Like
everyone wants a cute,
the specific look of dog or just rescue dogs in general?
just rescue dogs in general, because
Oh, okay.
he's obviously Crypto is a rescue dog, and he features
That's
prominently in this
cool.
film. And yeah, very, very cute. and iconic. And then also we got a glimpse at the new Superwoman, or Supergirl, sorry. Yeah, just great. She's a hot mess. We love to see it. She's very, very true to the lore of Supergirl. So I don't know if you know, but in the comics, Supergirl was actually supposed to land before Superman, to help look after him.
Isn't it
But
his cousin? Is that right?
I think, yeah, that's what they say. I don't know if
It's
that's
usually
like
always cousins. Like
blood
even with like
lineage
Batgirl.
true. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and she's Australian as well, so we love that. But yeah, she was supposed to fall first, so she kind of like landed with like no purpose, because Superman was like bigger than her, and she was like, oh, okay. And apparently is a confirmed blood cousin. So there you go. Thank you, Dolphin.
Yes.
So yeah, we love a strong woman. Hopefully, we get some very, very cool like gaming things that aren't Fortnite, because I went back into the history, and I'm going to show you just for funsies, just for fun, at the very first video game featuring Superman. And
It's actually fascinating you bring that up, because now that I think about it, I don't know any notable Superman games yet. Batman games, phenomenal.
Oh, but that's because they did
Arkham
such a good
Knight,
job. They're amazing.
and
Amazing.
it's so fun to play.
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm going to share with you the very first. Where are we? This one. This is
What in the world of
Superman.
paint?
Yep. So
His
this
underwear
was
is covering his whole body.
so this is Superman 1979. This was released
Wow.
on the Atari 2600.
That looks like an Atari game.
The idea was that Superman needed to fix a bridge in Metropolis that was destroyed by Lex Luthor, while avoiding kryptonite satellites and putting Lex's henchmen in jail. And apparently we
That's
have
so
got
cool.
a member of our audience that played this game. So yeah, we obviously have a very large demographic here. So that was
Amazing.
that was a time. That was 1979. And then the next one was in 1985.
I wonder if they'll go up in price then, with
Since
all
the
this
film?
popularity. Yeah, because I had my birthday not too long ago, about a week ago, and I got gifted a PlayStation 3, and that's the end of my collection now. I have all the PlayStations, which I'm super, super stoked about. And I would love to get like a Nintendo 64 or an Atari. I actually haven't, Nintendo 64s aren't too bad second hand. I've
Yeah,
not looked at
yeah.
how much an Atari is, if they're easy or hard or whatever. But I would be intrigued to know how much like these like popular games go for. I'm not a huge collector, just because I get worried about having too much stuff and too much
Sure.
junk.
Yeah, that you're not
But
using very often.
yeah,
Sure.
but these
But
sorts
if
of things,
you're
like, it's just like,
you
oh,
can't
it's
go
just
back
so
to this.
cool.
You can play emulators and stuff like that. But yes, this is the
Yes.
glory that is Superman the game in 1985. So this was a 2D game that was released on the Commodore 64, so even older than
Wow.
in Nintendo 64. So it was
Why
ported to
64? Is that like a bit rate or something? I don't really get the
yes,
ins and outs.
yeah,
Okay.
it is. So this was a game that was actually made for 2 players, where one player would play as Superman, who will try and save the citizens of Metropolis, and the other player was to play as Darkseid, who will lure the
Ooh.
citizens to an underground layer. So yeah, very, very cute.
Is
And
that
then
like a manhole cover? Like, is that
yeah,
what that's
this
supposed
looks
to
like
be?
looks like the streets. Are you talking
Mm.
about? I don't. Yeah, yeah. You just GTA, eat your heart out, you know what I mean? This is
This walked so GTA could somewhat stumble and run.
Yes, definitely. And then we have Superman 1987. and you'll be delighted to know that this is much better looking. You can actually see
Cute.
Superman's little face,
Get up.
there. He looks like a pop vinyl.
Mm,
But yeah,
very
but this,
true.
I don't know if I don't think that's supposed to be Lex Luthor. But yeah, so this was set in Metropolis. It was under attack by Lex Luthor and a gang of criminals who were exiled from Superman's home planet Krypton. Except this is more like a traditional side-scrolling adventure game, unlike the other ones. Kind of like, I guess, Mario kind of style. It would the background would change.
And like moves
The
upwards.
game Yeah, the game was developed back in 1987 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES. And yeah, it felt like a Super Mario game with a skin on. So there you
Hmm.
go. But yeah,
So there's a
overall,
history.
there definitely is, but he's definitely not. It's never been amazing. But this could actually be really amazing. Like Batman, amazing. I think his
There's
story,
Spider-Man.
that physique, it could really do really, really well in 4K. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I would love to know if anyone else feels the same way, but I kind of am turned off about like movie games, if that makes sense. Like, even this is not me flogging Marvel once again, but like Marvel Rivals came out and I was like, like I'm not really into it if it's of a movie. And like same
Mm.
with what's the one with Chris Pratt and he's in this space and he's doing stuff with Gamora and
Oh,
what are they called? What's that group called? The Guardians of the Galaxy. They
okay.
brought out a game that I was like,
Hey,
nah.
I actually
But
really
then
liked that game.
that's the thing that I'm going to go on to say is they actually turn out to be fantastic. Indiana Jones, I was like, oh, like fascinating that they're bringing a game of a film franchise that's very old, but they end up being fantastic games. And then let's look at like the little Batman trilogy and Arkham
Mm,
Knight and stuff, Spider-Man, like they do go on sometimes to be absolutely fantastic games and knock it out of the park. And so if they are able to kill it and bring Superman into the video game space that, like you said, is not just Fortnite, I
like
think that's
skin, yeah.
I think that's really cool. Like give him his own moment. Like sure, the Superman skin is always well sought after in Fortnite and things like that, just because it's cool to have. I mean, look
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
Deadpool skin. You can't get that.
Yeah.
It was a battle pass thing, and you can't get that now. Like people want it, so
Mm,
give
mm.
Superman his own spotlight.
Superman. So this was I think the last one that I could find where he was really the last kind of main character of the game. Because Superman has featured in a number of games and outside of Fortnite. So this was Superman, Shadow of Apocalypse, with a K, which was interesting. Yes, this is the one with the rings, and it was released on PlayStation 2 and the GameCube.
GameCube.
Yeah, so the controls were like a bit crazy, but yeah, you were flying Superman.
That is
Um,
cool.
yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward. I've said this before. I'll say this again. I need a Mystique game. Okay, I need a Mystique.
Yes.
I want a
Yes. Now we're
Storm game.
talking.
I want. There are some really amazingly cool baddie, characters that could just really kick ass in a video game. Make it 10 hours long. I don't know. Just make it in Unreal Engine 5 and we'll call it a day. Okay? Um,
Mhm.
who would you love to see? Like, it doesn't have to be a superhero, like in their own video game.
Oh, good question, really. I mean, I think there's so many fantastic options. I would agree with you, like Storm would be really cool. They could even do some sort of like like women's collective sort of thing. And you could have Raven in there and Storm, Mystique.
That would be
Like you can
cool.
have like
Yeah.
the girlies, and whether it's sort of like a crossover game or you switch
Yeah.
from POVs. Because isn't there, correct me if I'm wrong, is there a Catwoman game? Or am
There
I getting,
was. Yes.
there was.
Yes.
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 Because
It was
even
on
seeing,
Xbox.
yes, yeah, seeing more of
Mhm.
that is super fun. But I will say, that kind of leads, unfortunately, because there's obviously, it's a point of contention with character art with comics,
Yeah.
that it's very hypersexualized.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
ever see that viral video that somebody had swapped the what do you call it, like the body of the character onto the movements of the other character, so like the skin kind of was onto something different. Anyway, something went viral that they swapped
Mm.
Batman and Catwoman in this one scene in one of the video games. And she just is. You don't even need to see her character model. Obviously, she's extremely sexualized, but her movements are so hyper sexualized that
Like a pole dancer.
it even looks Batman, like Batman looks like a Slinky Malinky. And it's the scene where he or she's coming out of jail and he's like waiting at the steps for her. So she's like all masculine and stuff, and Batman's coming down the steps like this. And it went viral ages ago now. I reckon several years ago. Not sure if anyone knows what I'm talking about. I'm probably crazy. But it did go to show that, yeah, the character itself is hypersexualized, but just the actions and their slinky malinky little voices. It would be nice to have representation of female superheroes or supervillains that
Mm.
isn't really based on skin tight, larger breasts, large bum, tiny waist. It could be fantastic to just have like a Harley Quinn kind of in
Yeah, but
Birds of a
like
Feather,
from the
Birds of
second
Prey.
movie. Yeah, yeah, Birds of Prey,
Yes,
yeah.
Birds of Prey. Very through a woman's lens instead of the
Yeah,
men's
for
lens.
sure.
Because even Stan Lee had an issue with the artist's hypersexualization of female characters, but it kind of came to a head when most people were picking up on it, and it was like there's not,
Mhm.
and the feminism there extends to blokes as well. Like you look at
Yeah, for
how
sure.
they draw
Yeah.
how they draw the fellas, they've got muscles on muscles, and I'm not even saying that
I
sarcastically.
don't even
Like,
know how they move. Like, there's no way
yes,
that they'd be able to move their arms with how jacked they make them
their
look.
arms
Very,
are
very
just,
hyper,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
like
just too much. And so I think in modern times, people are kind of calming that down a little bit. So if we were to get a game like that, which obviously would be fantastic because you're highlighting characters that don't always get their moment to shine, like Raven would be really cool to
yeah.
learn more about her, just not as slinky malinky. That'd be nice.
Look, I love the Slinky Malinky, like, especially with Catwoman, like, just I love that. It
Mm.
doesn't do anything for me as in, you know, like, I'm into it. But, you know, like, I appreciate that, you know, her movements are like a cat, you know, and that
Yep.
is fine. But give me cutscenes of her, like, you know, looking deranged with all of her cats in her pink apartment, you know,
Yes.
drinking from a bottle of milk, you know, like, we need
People
a little bit
forget
of
that she's
balance.
crazy.
Yeah, she's actually
She's
crazy.
crazy. Like, she's not like this little, like, sexy machine. Like, she's
No, that's
crazy.
just
She's
her manic
loopy.
episode. She
Yeah.
you know, she's just
Yeah, you
but
can't
yeah,
have
we
the
love her,
good with the
you know?
bad and the bad with the good, honey. Like, you need it all.
That's
You
right.
need it all.
That's right. Chat, you've been amazing tonight. Really, really loved having you here. And yeah, you've really added a lot to the conversation. So really, really appreciate that as always. Ellie, thanks for holding it down with me. As always, you're a queen.
No,
And
you.
yeah, hope and yeah, I really hope that I hope that all the game developers out there who are watching and listening, they hear us and, you know, let's talk, you know, we'd be happy to consult on any kind of, you know, female power, Power Play games, you know, feel free, hit us up. Yeah,
That's it. They could have like a little throw out. Yeah. They
gmail.com.
on their phones. On their phones, they could have a little like, oh look, let me pause this podcast I'm listening to, and it's Coag. Little
Yep.
Easter egg.
Yeah, it's like they're in the board meeting, like, you guys, I was actually listening to this podcast, and I was like, that's a really valid point. So you can give it a listen. And yes, always you could join. You can join our Discord. Link is in the chat or it's in the description below. I don't have the powers at the moment to do a raid, so it's just going to be a simple farewell. And we will see you all next week for another episode of Confessions of a Gamer Girl podcast. Bye, everyone. Bye.